What do you mean? Amy looked behind her like she was expecting to see somebody behind her. I can't say any more, Kyle. Just leave me alone. I stood my ground, not wanting to bug her anymore, watching her sprint home. Stunned by the encounter with Amy, I headed home. I knew things weren't going to be good when I got home. I never did tell my mom where I was going. With caution, I opened the front door to see her looking right through me. She got up, displeased, ready to give me a lecture.
Kyle, I know you go exploring at night, but why didn't you contact me? I was so close to calling 911.
I can hear the tone of her voice. She wanted to cry. I stood there with my head down. Sorry, Mom.
Kyle, I know you may not be scared, but I am. It tears me apart the next day, maybe your last.
Tears were streaming down her eyes at this point.
Please don't put me through this.
I slowly made my way up the stairs. I won't, Mom. I'm sorry. I descended into my room onto my bed, thinking about Amy. I pulled out my phone, sliding down to my contacts until I found her name. Hesitantly, I dialed a number. Right away, she answered. Hey, Amy. I know I was cut off by a very familiar whisper. Hello, Kyle. I started to let my words out. How? How did you get her phone? The line went dead shortly after leaving me frozen. I texted an apology, scared to call her again. Full of fear after sending the text, I shut off the lamp, seeing pitch black in my room as I closed my eyes to sleep. Falling asleep, there was something wrong. I felt uneasy, hearing small creaks. Something was wrong. Someone was in my room. Have a good sleep, Kyle. I jolted as I heard the voice. Scrambling to my leg, I attempted to turn it on, but to no avail. I couldn't see him, but the outline of the man was unmistakable. There's no use in screaming. None of them can hear you. The old man's shape walked towards me. His steps were almost inhumane. Every time he walked, his legs would snap and turn sideways, then forwards again. He was now within arm's length. Time froze as he looked at me. She's right. You're all my puppets, except you. I have something special planned for you. No. The outline of the man's hand reaches for me before I was woken up by my brother. Wake up, Kyle! You're having a nightmare!
No, let me alone! Let me alone! No!
I screamed and slapped my brother in the face, restraining me. He tried to calm me down.
Let me go!
Calm down! It was just a nightmare.
Let me go.
You're safe now. James? I looked up to see my brother looking at me, concerned. Yeah, it's me, bro. I don't know what you were dreaming about, but you were tossing and turning. I took deep breaths, processing what I saw. Just leave me alone. Not until I know you're okay. I'm okay. Just give me some time alone. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure, James. Leave me the fuck alone. I pointed to the door, signaling him to leave. Making his way to the door, James looked back one more time. If you need anything, I'm here for you, bro. I ignored him, watching him leave the room. After composing myself, I got out of bed, looking at the attic window across the street. Fear and anger rushed through me as a rush of deja vu crossed me. Before fear took me over, I was erupted by a text message. Looking at my phone, I read it. One unread text. Before opening it, I saw who it was from. An unknown number.
Kyle Rogers. I think it's about time you know what is happening. Meet me at Chester Park in 1 hour. Don't tell anyone where you're going, and make sure you're not followed. You should know who I'm talking about. Look everywhere for him. House windows, house doors, even the woods. He doesn't know everything. Remember, Chester Park, 1 hour.
Before I could text back, the conversation disappeared. Knowing this would be my only chance to get answers, I decided to meet the person at the park. I headed to the kitchen, looking at a batch of freshly cooked pancakes. My mom sat at the table scrolling through her Facebook, while James threw a football outside. I grabbed some pancakes, and must have gotten her attention as she looked at me.
Hello, sweetie. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Mom. The words stretched so low as I sounded like a robot. She lowered her phone and got out of the chair.
Kyle, I know what you have right now. It isn't the easiest thing to cope with. But please, don't give up.
She was talking about my cancer, but I never did worry about it. I know, Mom. I'm okay. Really.
Come on. I wasn't born yesterday. I know when something is bothering you.
I couldn't tell her what was going on. What was I supposed to say? There's an old man making my life a living hell, or I've gotten the weirdest text ever. She'd think I was crazy. Snapping out of my trance, I heard her talking again.
Kyle, I gave up my job to be with you. James is taking a break from high school just for you. Please, we don't want you to be unhappy. Talk to us! What is the matter?
I looked down at my feet, staying quiet. I didn't show it, but I felt terrible for putting her through this. The instructions from the text were clear. Tell nobody. I sat at the table eating my pancakes, ignoring my mother and saying nothing. I finished my pancakes, putting them in the sink, heading to the door.
You're going outside again, aren't you?
I nodded my head.
Guess I can't stop you. Be home by 5.
I nodded, walking slowly to the park, looking at every window, street, and constantly behind me. He was nowhere to be seen. The park was now in view. It was empty, claiming me as the only person here. I checked the time. 11:26 a.m. Whoever was going to meet me would be here soon. I watched. 11:30 a.m. came onto my screen. Not a second later, another text came onto my screen.
Check your surroundings again. Make sure he's not here.
Reading the text, I looked around, seeing no one. Where is this person watching me from? I heard my phone buzz again.
Do you see him?
I texted back furiously, saying no, and asking who this was. I only got one answer.
There will be time for answers later.
5 minutes passed. I was about to leave before I saw a man approach the bench. It was Evan. Kyle, I'm glad you made it.
Evan? What are you doing here?
He sat beside me, looking at me in a faceless tone. You've been saying him, haven't you? I didn't say anything. The look in my eyes said everything. The old man, he wants you to be a part of the town.
Part of the town? What do you mean?
No one's told you about him? I tried to ask Amy, but she ran off. Typical. Evan looked down on the ground, taking in a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you isn't going to make no sense. I'm his son. Are you serious? Yes, I am. We only exist because he wants us to. What do you mean? Dismissing the question, Evan jumps to the point. Kyle, what you see here is an illusion. The town and everything here isn't supposed to be alive. We're over 400 years old. That's impossible. It's not. I'm actually 416 years old. I've had enough of this bad joke. As I got up to walk away, Evan grabbed my arm. It's a curse for what we did 400 years ago. The man you see is Edward Andrews, my father. Or whatever happened to him after my mother died from witch charges. You're saying your mom's a witch? Not my mom. My grandmother. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Buckle up. It's a story. I sat down again, wanting to know what he was going to say. 400 years ago, my dad was out hunting, leaving me and my mom as the only ones home. Mother was showing me books my grandmother read, but she didn't know what they were. When she was reading through the books, the police did their nightly checkup on us. They saw my mom holding the book, which turned out to be a spell book. They deemed her a witch, took her away, and lynched her the next day. I tried to comfort him. I'm sorry, Evan. He shook his head as he shed a tear. I don't deserve a sorry. I thought she was one too. You mean everyone in town thought your mom was a witch because of a book? How could you be so blind? We all were, except for my dad. He pleaded for her innocence. No one listened, and she was lynched the next day in front of everybody. I'm guessing your dad didn't take that too well. After her death, he changed. How so? The book she had, he stole it. He would go to the attic and stay in there for hours. He talked to himself and never spent time with me. The man I knew as my father was gone. Why didn't you say anything to anybody? I thought he was going through a grieving process. I was wrong if I did. Maybe if I did, I could have stopped this. What could you have stopped? Evan muttered. The curse he puts on us. He made himself immortal and bound our souls here forever. We can never age, or die, or leave Trinity. You're the only one not under his curse, so he's coming for you. He wants me to be a part of the curse? Evan nodded. He already controls your mother and brother. He's having trouble with you, though. Why? I don't know, but I would be super careful. How could I be careful? I don't know, Kyle. I really don't know. With those final words, Evan patted my back and walked away. Sitting there, a whisper came through my ears. Everything he said was true. The old man's voice went right through my ears. I was wondering when you would show up. I looked behind him to see him in broad daylight. For the first time, I wasn't afraid to see him. Instead, I felt sympathy for the old man. They forced me to be in front of the line for the lynch. I heard a voice that didn't sound possible coming from him. He no longer whispered, but sounded like a young man. I turned behind me to see the old man stunned. He was wearing normal-looking attire. He was about 5'11", with brown hair and brown eyes, and spoke clearly for the first time.
Would you like to see it for yourself?
I hesitantly nodded. The old man reached for my hand, and in a split second later, we weren't at the park anymore. What happened? Where are we?
The lynching of Trinity of July 14th, 1618. Terry's death. My wife's death.
Can the people see me?
No one can see you or hear you.
I looked around, seeing people yelling death to witches and traitors. They held torches, waving them in the air. In the crowds, I recognized everybody from the town. The old man signaled me to look ahead. Ahead of me, I saw a wooden stage with a curtain.
This is where Trinity made its biggest mistake.
The curtain opened, revealing a gagged woman on a noose cue, with a rope around her neck. Streams of tears rolled down her face as she struggled to yell out Edward as he was restrained by multiple men. She was interrupted as a man from the crowd walked up the stage. The man wore a suit and signaled for the crowd to be quiet. The man spoke, his voice echoing through the world.
Terry Andrews! You have been committed to death for plans to use sorcery on our town. You plead innocence, yet it is obvious you intend to use this on someone. With you gone, this town will forever be safe.
After saying this, the man roams to the other side of the stage where the lever is.
May God have mercy on your soul.
The man pulled the lever, causing the cube to fall. A small scream came from Terry as she descended to the ground before her neck snapped. What was Terry was now a lifeless body, swinging left to right on a loose rope. The crowd applauded louder as the tortures were now on her. The old man flinched. In a quiet whisper, he grabbed my hand again.
It's time to go.
I blinked again to find myself sitting at the park bench. What do you want from me? You've been harassing me for weeks, driving me to near insanity. Is there another stunt? Asking the old man. He didn't do anything. Instead, the voice drifted.
For 400 years, this town suffered because of me. Everyone should be at rest, now seeing their families. Instead, they are stuck in a prison I made. I want to end what I have started. I need your help.
My worst fear, who I thought was going to kill me, was asking me for help. All I felt was with him around me. Now I found myself feeling sympathy. What do you need help with?
I want to break the curse.
You said that we're trapped here forever. How could it be broken?
The one that cast the spell must be killed. For that my soul must be destroyed.
He paused, signaling it was going to be bad for me.
You must let me have your soul.
What?
My soul is under the spell. I will never die, but yours isn't. The spell cannot work on you with your terminal illness. If you let my soul into yours, I will have one day to live, as well as you.
So I will die, and you will die. Then what will happen to the town?
Everyone's soul will finally be at rest.
took a slow, deep breath. I accept your offer. The old man smiled as he touched my heart.
Thank you.
He disappeared in front of me. A faint blue light, which was his soul, flew onto me.
Mom. James. This happened 23 hours ago. I don't have much time left. Thank you for listening to me and being the best mother and brother in the world. Now I must go. Thank you. I love you all. The people of Trinity started to disappear, and blue came from their bodies. Their souls were now free with Kyle, making the ultimate sacrifice.